One of the most important jobs you have as a parent is to keep your child safe while riding in the vehicle. Each year, thousands of young children are injured or killed in car crashes.
59% of these cases are because car seats are used incorrectly.
Car crashes are the leading cause of death for children ages 1 to 13. That's why it's so important for you to choose and use the correct car seat for your child every time you go in the car.
Follow these important steps to choose the right seat, install it correctly, and keep your child safe. So in your hands, you have a handout that goes through car seat safety for children all the way up until they're 12 years old. Now, the most important take for this right now is that children that are under the age of 1 need to be in a rear-facing car seat. And I will show you guys in a few minutes about a car seat that's meant for newborns or for children of that age. Now, certain children can meet height and weight requirements, and each car seat has its own manufacturer instructions on it that you can see if your child meets those, because not all children are the same size and shapes and stuff like that. So for this particular one, this is a convertible car seat. So this can actually be facing forward or backward. And I will show you guys as well how to install this in the car in a little while. But the most important part is that it's a 5-point car seat. So it has the bottom buckle, it has the 2 overhead straps, and then it has the 2 side latches. Now all of these, whenever they are in the children or on the child, they need to be clipped and kept over the breastbones. And then these underneath need to both be secure inside the latches. And then this pulls it tight. So I will show you this on a child in a little while, but this is kind of the general idea of how this works. Now when this is forward facing, this should not be forward facing until the child is around 3 years old. And that is a personal preference that if your child wants to, or if you want to switch your child around before then, if you feel comfortable, if they meet the height and weight requirements, but the longer the child is rear facing, the safer it is for your child. So if you look back at your hands out, it shows you the rear facing car seat for the child up until they're 12 months old. It says infant only seats can only be used for rear facing. Convertible, like this one right here, typically have a higher height and weight limits for the rear facing position, allowing you to keep the child rear facing for a longer period of time. Now this child that actually uses this car seat is around 14 months old, and she is still rear facing, and she will be in this position until she is 3. So if you move on to these, on the right you can see that that is one of those convertible car seats, and on the left it's the infant car seat. And on the back side, it talks about when you actually switch them around. So you should keep your child rear facing as long as possible. The best way to keep him or her safe. Your child should remain in a rear-facing car seat until he or she reaches the top height and weight requirements for the car seat manufacturer. Once your child outgrows this, your child is ready to travel in a forward-facing car seat with a harness and a tether, which is located up either at the top, which this one is buckled in so you can't see, or they will be at the bottom of the car seats down here. And I will show you that in a minute as well. I hope it's not getting too dark. So 4 to 7, your child should still be in these types of car seats. If they meet the height and weight requirements, you can actually transfer them into a booster seat, which is a smaller version of these. It just doesn't have this backside on them, so they get a little more comfortable. They feel like they're actually in the car riding, like an adult, because at that age they start to want to ride like mommy, daddy, mommy, stuff like that. So for the booster seats, it talks about in the third paragraph down, you can see where it says 4 to 7 years old. 8 to 12 is when you start to get in that age range where, unfortunately, kids nowadays are reaching a higher weight. So they might be transferring a little earlier than expected. But for the most part, they should stay in that booster seat that keeps them the safest as long as possible. And that is always with a seatbelt that goes across their chest and never under the arm or over backwards or just the around the waist. It should have the 3-point seatbelt across them. And whenever they feel or you feel comfortable and they meet that requirement, they can move to just a seatbelt. And that's the same thing with children that are over 12 too. If they're much smaller, they can stay in their booster seats longer and stuff like that. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, so let's go look at what it looks like to have a child in one of these car seats, and we'll look at an infant newborn seat as well. Okay. So with the car seats, like I said earlier, these straps will go up over the shoulders. These will buckle over the chest, and this is a chest strap, so this is very important that this stays over the breastbones. These 2 points will clap into the bottom. And to make sure the child is safe and secure, we'll pull this strap so it adjusts to the tightness, so that you can only fit 2 fingers underneath here. You don't want to be able to fit your entire hand underneath. So you keep pulling until the child is secure, and you can only fit 2 fingers underneath. Okay, so now I'm going to walk you through the steps of installing a rear-facing car seat. So most car seats will have a level that shows in between these ranges for which way it needs to be in. Since this is a convertible car seat, it has both of these meters on here, and you need to keep it within these range depending on which way the car seat is facing. So all cars will have these little metal pieces on the inside that these are designed to pop in place with. So this needs to be shoved under here until you hear a click, and then it will hold this car seat in place. This lever right here will pull and tighten this once it's attached and keep the car seat from moving around. All right, so this is what I was talking about when I said that there were newborn infant car seats. So a child can stay in this from when they're newborn to about 12 months, but that all is dependent on the child as well. They can grow out of it earlier than that, or they can stay in it a little longer. The 14-month-old in the video actually still fits in this. She just is getting a little snug. And that is because you can remove the padding that's for newborns out of the inside. But this has the same harness system as the other car seat, the 5-point harness that has the buckles that buckle into the bottom, and the chest strap that goes across the breastbone, and the 2 shoulder pads as well. This doesn't have the latch system built in that the convertible car seat has. These actually come with bases that will lock and permanently stay into the car. The latch system is in the back, and they hook into that same area of the car that the other one did. And this will actually come undone from that base, and you pull this straight out of the car. But then needs to make sure that that is secure and latched into that base at all times when the child is in the car and it is actually driving. Why don't you guys tell me what you thought was most important today and what you learned?
Newborns and children under the age of 1 need to be kept in a rear-facing car seat. And children up until the age of 3 should also be kept in a rear-facing car seat, as it is the safest unless they meet the height and weight requirements. So for a 5-point car seat, these need to be kept over the child's shoulders. These are over the breastbone. You clip it. You take these, secure them, then pull this to tighten. Car seat safety is very important to maintain to keep your child safe. Remember that when you have a newborn or a child under the age of 1, they should stay in a rear-facing car seat with only 2 finger spaces beneath the harness. Remember to use the latch system when putting the car seat in your car, and to check for security every time. And remember that when you have a child under the age of 3, they should stay in a rear-facing car seat until they meet the height and weight requirements from the manufacturer. Just remember to keep your child safe.